All right, thank you all for sticking with us. It's been a long first day. I mean, lots of intense learning and sharing and inspiration. So thank you for all the speakers and panelists and participants and sponsors. I mean, like Paul had just said, it's amazing community here, and really appreciate everyone's participation, especially Rithvik. You know, 2 times in the same day one. He was here towards the start. I think your second session. And now you're back again to go even deeper into Bob Wallet. There's some updates. I think Luke, we mentioned, did help finish HIP 2, well-known wallet. I think you're sure, and you're also going to share about the airdrop, and the Alexa 100K process today in this session. So I'm really excited for this, Rithvik. I actually have to claim Alexa 100K. At least one. One I'm a direct partner in. I don't know how to do it, and another one is a friend's site that wants to do it. So I'm excited to have this session. All right. So without further ado, Rithvik, take it away. Thank you again.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty simple. So let's just start.
Let's go.
Okay, so this time we'll take a look at the developer airdrop, the reserve name claims, and finally address aliases. That's HIP2. So first is the airdrop. If you're new to Handshake, then you may have found out about it because of the airdrop. Like the white paper explains, Handshake is experimenting with this distribution and allocates a majority of the supply to FOSS, that's free and open source software devs, and the public. Fun fact, the $10.2 million raised were all just given away to various FOSS communities like Mozilla, EFF, and FSF, and others. And so about 46% of the total supply is reserved for open source dev airdrop. And if you meet the requirements listed on the next slide, you may be able to claim 4,200 HNS. So let's see. So if you're eligible, if you meet one of the criteria here, so either you have a GitHub account with 15 or more followers in Feb 2019 and had at least one SSH or PGP key registered on GitHub. That key is needed to claim the reward, by the way. So if it's expired, or if you've lost it, then that's just tough luck. Or if you have a PGP that's part of the Web of Trust strong set, or if you had a Hacker News account linked with Keybase, and the HN account was created in or before 2017, then you qualify. So how do we claim? Bob has a dedicated page for it. And if you're verifying with SSH or PGP, there are 2 different redeem buttons on the right. You can pick the respective button. So here you enter the private key of that's either the SSH or PGP key. And if it's encrypted, enter the password. Of course, if you aren't comfortable with entering private keys into another software, there's also the official CLI called HS airdrop, and you can inspect that code, and you can even run it in an air-gapped machine or in a Docker container. So for details on how to do that, press manual instruction and check out the HS airdrop repo on GitHub. Anyway, so continuing with the flow, Bob automatically fills in the address with your wallet, from your wallet. This is where the HNS will be deposited from the claim. And the way the airdrop works is unique. Is a unique nonce is generated for every possible claim or reward. It's like a leaf. And it's encrypted with the user's key that's scraped from GitHub. back in 2019. So at this stage, we try to decrypt all nonce values to find the key, to find the right uh, nonce. Finally, the proof is created and signed. Then you can encode. You see the encoded proof, and if you're interested, you can decode it. It's B64. And finally, if you broadcast it, it will be mined in the next few blocks, and it will update your wallet and balance. One thing to note though is that the airdrops are included in the Coinbase transaction, the same that pays out to miners. So it'll take 100 confirmations for it to be spendable. That's around 17 hours. It's pretty simple, the flow. Next is reserve name claims. So Handshake is backward compatible with ICANN root zone, at least as of mainnet launch. That's how you're able to visit .com domains even while using a handshake resolver. So that's possible because all ICANN TLDs are reserved along with the top 100K domains in Alexa's ranking, again, as of 2019. So yeah, those 100K domains have their TLDs reserved on Handshake. For example, the Handshake name EFF is reserved for the owner of EFF.com. By the way, rip Alexa because it's shutting down in May. There are a few more restrictions and more info in general available in the HS names repo on GitHub, again in the same org. In addition to the name, the owners also get HNS. Bifrance has created this cool table that shows how the HNS is distributed. He's also made a Twitter bot that tracks these claims as they happen. As you can see, most domains get around 500 HNS and most TLDs get 30K HNS. And ICANN is special, they get 24 million HNS if they ever claim it. We'll see. So, and there are a few requirements before claiming that you should know. First, it has to be reserved in the list. That list cannot be modified because it's part of consensus. There used to be a site called DNS.live, but that went offline a few days ago. It let you check the eligibility easily, but it's offline right now. You can also check it directly in Bob. We'll see that in the next slides. Second, DNSSEC must be set up correctly. Domain ownership is proven using this chain of signatures from the ICANN root KSK to the signature of the the TXT record of the domain. At the minimum, the DS record must be added to the parent. That's usually the TLE registry. Third, since SHA-1 SHA-1 is no longer considered secure, Handshake won't accept proofs that use the digest type. So some TLDs like .click can't be claimed, or any domains on that TLD can't be claimed right now because the DS records placed in the root zone by the TLD registry is weak. It uses a weak digest type SHA-1. You can use a DNSSEC analyzer to check what algo or digest type is used for your domain. And Bob shows it too, of course. And the last point is, as of now, reserve names must be claimed before Feb 2024. That's 4 years since mainnet launch. Names that aren't claimed in the first 4 years will be opened or can be opened for auctions then. But if you've been a part of the community, you've probably heard that there has been some discussion going on about extending this by another 4 years with a hard fork. But in case that doesn't happen, it's just better to claim as early as possible. So how do we claim reserve names? There are 4 ways, and Matt Zipkin, who added this claim feature to Bob in the first place, has a detailed video going through each of the options. The first one, and the easiest to use, is what most people will need. That's the online DNS service. This is where you add a TXT record along with your other records to prove ownership. That's the easiest, and we'll just see how that goes. We'll get back to the other three later. From yeah, the bug is not. I don't know what that is. It just started this morning. Okay. Yeah. Okay. From the same Bob's claim page, start the claim process and enter the domain name that you own. It shows the handshake name that's reserved and you'll be getting, along with the HNS associated with that name. Then of the four options, we'll go with online DNS service for now. We'll get back to the other three later. Now Bob gives you a TXT record. This record value starts with HNS red test in this case, but it can be anything based on network. So that's the encoding of a regular handshake address. This address belongs to your wallet, so the name and HNS will be deposited to that address when claimed. So you copy the TXT record, add it to wherever you manage DNS, like it could be Cloudflare or Namecheap or anywhere else. And once that's set, just press check DNS. To confirm that the DNS is set, you can use dig to query a resolver. You see the RR sig here. That's the signature of the TXT record that's signed by the ZSK. That's signed by the case, but I'm not going to go into DNSSEC now. And that's it. So once you submit it, it's done. The proof is submitted and it will show up in the wallet when it's mined in the next few blocks. But one thing that's special about reserve names is that it cannot be is there a problem, or I'll just continue. So reserve name claims are special and they can be registered after 30 days only, not 1 day per, like the airdrop thing. So this is to prevent a few attacks, like if a DNS host is compromised and an attacker claims a name, then the real owner has 30 days to send a new claim with to take back ownership. So that was the simplest method, where you just added TXT and verify. The next three methods don't require modification to the zone itself, to the published zone. The second method, that's local DNSSEC key, can be used if you have a zone signing private key file on hand on the same machine. Instead of adding a TXT record and the host and the DNS host signing it for you, Bob can do it for you without adding it to the published zone. The third method, offline DNSSEC key, is when you have the ZSK on a different device. Here you copy the TXT to somewhere else, generate the RR sig there, then copy the RR sig back into Bob. And the last method is meant for use when private keys are stored on HSMs or hardware security modules. It's similar to how hardware wallets store seed traces for your crypto wallets, but this is for DNS keys. So in this case, a library called DNSProof talks to the HSM and signs the zone or records. I'm not going to go into detail because most people don't need it, and Matt already has a video going through each of these methods. Okay, so that completes the airdrop and reserve names, and we can move on to address aliases. Yeah, people seem excited. Finally, so yeah, this is a new feature that will be available in the upcoming release of Bob. It brings ENS's use case to handshake domains. That's naming wallets with handshake names. Yeah, one thing to note is the HIP was authored by Fernando and Tynes and was implemented by Luke in Bob. Right. So with this, it's possible to send HNS to names instead of having to type out the complete address. Yeah. Right. So it's based on HIP2, which you can see here. It defines how the name resolves into an address. We'll get to that. So what we do here is when you let's just see it in Bob first. But yeah, so you can type in a normal address starting with H1, or if you add an at, then it goes in. You can type in an alias like it gives you his address directly, and you can send anything that you want without typing in the address. Same goes for concept. And what's special here is you see that the address changes every single time. So right now it ends with V2W. You try it again, you get a different address. So that's good for privacy. We'll get to how that works. It's not just this, you can also have ICANN domains. So falsy.me is a legacy ICANN domain on the .me TLD. Or there is Nathan's domain. None of them already exist, but that's okay. So how does that work? So according to the HIP, it's just a regular HTTPS request like what a browser would do. And because of that, there's no dependency libraries that you need or DNS that you need to integrate it with other apps or services. Hopefully, Namebase and other apps and services support it too someday. Oh, and I think you can see from the example, it's not limited to HNS. It can work with any symbol. So you can have Bitcoin or Ethereum addresses too. So what's really happening behind the scenes? Bob is sending making a request like any other browser. In fact, you can just visit that URL with that path. Wait, that's a different one. Yeah. And you can see the text here. There's nothing special about it. It's just one string of address on a page. Right. Okay, so it looks great, but how do you set up your own TLDs or domains to resolve these TLDs or domains to addresses? The easiest way is with Fernando's Synthapolis, which is here. All you have to do is set it up like a normal domain, go to address aliases and set the address. It's the simplest way that there is right now. Or if you already have a HTTPS website, again, Handshake or ICANN domain, everything works. You could just add a text file at that path, at the well-known path, and it'll just work. But how this differs from ENS is you can run a server that dynamically generates addresses based on criteria, could be location or anything. It could, right now it does it for every request, but it could have its own restrictions and other complex logic. I think I'll just stop for a quick Q&A before moving on to a demo showing how you set up from scratch. Yes, Synthapolis has an option for SLEs. I think he'll talk about it tomorrow, but yeah, it's possible.
Okay, I think you got most of the questions in the chat. But if people have questions so far, before Rithik moves to the next stage.
Will it work with SLEs on, say, Namecheap or Gateway? Or yeah, it's everywhere. As long as you have DNSSEC set up properly, it will work.
So yeah, it means it's at the protocol level, right? It's on the Handshake protocol. So these are all dApps or apps, right? Namecheap, Namebase, Gateway, Agamin. They would need to integrate or implement that protocol update, right, Rithvik? Kind of.
Uh, they need to make changes, yes, but it's very simple. It's just making um, it's like a basic request. It's the most basic request that you can send. It's just
Okay.
like uh, even with HTTP, you have multiple. Okay, yeah, you have multiple kinds of requests like get or post or whatever. And get is what you send when you visit any website like GitHub. It's sending a get. So that's all you're doing. So yes, they need to make changes, but it's minimal.
Okay, so let's hope they all can adopt it, but they have to probably do something on their side um,
And
to do an upgrade or an update on their interface or on their side to reflect it. But from what Rithvik's saying is hopefully not a huge amount of resources for them to do.
we can hope.
Let's hope.
Yeah, guys, make sure to any other questions that you may have, make sure to drop them in the Q&A
Yeah, it's
chat so we can keep
easier.
track of them better and don't lose them in the chat. And then after Rithvik does this from scratch setup, then we can have some more Q&A at the end as well.
Okay, great. So I don't know. I hope people understand. I mean, obviously, I know there's a lot of developers here. For me, I think Fistful are more business, but this is basically like ENS domains. I know all these people on Twitter use .eth. So this basically what means we did a competition, a raffle for this HandyCon opening where we gave two winners 50 HNS, but we had to still use that long, ugly HNS address. But what this means is you can send it to your HNS name. And it doesn't have to just be HNS coin. It could be Ethereum, Bitcoin. It even will work with a non-HNS domain. He's saying, and you can you just really clarify for us? I tried to write it down, but you said the difference with ENS is this is dynamic addresses, whereas ENS is only one address, static address. I think, right? Is
Yeah, the
that
thing is with ENS, you put the addresses on chain, but here it's not on chain. It's a server that's giving out addresses. So it's up to the server to either give the same address every time, or if it wants to change it, or it can be dynamic. It can be made dynamic, but that's not possible with ENS.
I'm trying to think of use cases, but it sounds probably better if you could change the address without having to do an on-chain update. Because I know people complain about ENS domains; they got to do like a gas fee and a
Yeah.
transaction on the Ethereum blockchain to change their address on their ENS name. So, okay, well, I just want to clarify. I'm hoping everybody's following this, but as you can tell, I'm kind of excited. And it seems like Sajin's also excited. I think it's gonna be a great use case for the handshake names is wallet address is built in.
It's a
So
pretty
thanks.
exciting feature.
Okay, so yeah, you're gonna do a demo then, right? Next, and then if people have more Q&A, yeah, the chat is chat, but if you have a specific question, let's try to use the Q&A tab for that. Okay.
So we'll start with a blank VM that you. Okay, so you could do a static thing like how Simpa is doing, but we'll go with the server that Matt Zipkin has written, which generates addresses for every request, like how proof of concept does. So we'll start with a new droplet or a new VM. Yeah, it can happen with BTC and ETH also. Um, it's up to the wallets to integrate it or not. We'll just go with the basic 5 per month VM. choose one closest to me. This is just basic stuff. Nothing changes here. So while that's created, we'll just take a look at the software that's here. So Zipkin software, you'll need to get the xpub key, or xpub key from Bob Wallet or any other wallet that you have. So you'll need where did it go? So you go to settings, network, you have wallet, and then API key. That's your API key, and you know your wallet name. So with just those two, so you have WCLI, then the wallet name, then the API key, and then getting the accounts xpub. That's all you're doing. So you get this value and you note it down. This is what generates addresses for every single request. I think it's created. Yeah. Just gonna add an IP address so that it's permanent. So that's the IP. New host. Just gonna edit this. Let's zoom in a bit. This is a blank VM, there's nothing on it. And we're doing it as root, which you probably don't want to, but it's just a demo, so I'm just going ahead. First things first, we'll just clone this repo, the server. And see input. Now the thing is, you need Node.js to run it. So we'll say and the good thing about this is you don't need to build it because the build folder already has the compiled version of the thing. So node build that. Just run the script. Oh, but we didn't set the xprop that we got from the Bob Wallet account here. So let's quickly replace that string. There's a folder called conf and a file inside called xpub. We're just replacing that string with this. I can start the server and type out. Oh, no, that did not. Okay. And if we try to query the server, send a normal request, see that's an address being generated here. It ends with 25G. do it again, you get a different address. So that works. Next is to get SSH, SSL. But, so I'm just going to follow a part of this guide where you install Nginx. That's a web reverse proxy in this case. Now we have Nginx. We don't need any content, so I'm just going to skip all that. This is okay. So this works, and for Nginx, we'll take this bit. We'll simplify it for now. I'm just going to call it dynamic HIP2. Is my audio on? No, it's not. Okay, so just call it that. Standard template. Remove all of this for now. The domain name will change. I'm going to set it up as at dynamic.bb-8 because that bb8 already has DNSSEC and everything ready. Exactly. There's no coding here. It's just setting up a few config things and let's say bb8 quickly. I think we can finish this in time or even early. So bb8, the port that we just used was that's it. We're just enabling that site with Nginx. So now if you curl, okay, one thing was the SSL certs that we need to generate. Probably have noted it down somewhere, but okay, it's here. So we're going to put the same thing, but just change the name. We could just put dynamic.bb8 here, but just replace it here. Okay, so we'll have to put the search somewhere. I think can put it in root SSL and name. And we just move the search before moving. We just note down the TLSA that's needed. Down here. And then we move the certs to that folder, new folder. And that's it. So you can just, there's no errors, just that's it. So that takes care of this server, which you can, we'll need to add 2 more records at the DNS host. So this is where the DNS server is. You can just ignore most of this, just the last 2 lines are what matters. If you're using Headers Hub, then you won't need to do any of this. It's just, I'm doing it in the terminal, but it's the same. Nice. And the value we copied from there goes on the DNS thing. And that's it. So you have dynamic pointing to the web server, and you have a TLSA record for Dane. Need to, again, this is, again, it's only a bind thing. Wouldn't need it on Hackers Hub. That's done, then reload, that's done. We can see that you see the IP that's being returned. So the record's updated. That should do it. Straight on. So just copy this bit inside of proof concept. We have dynamic dot p-8. Hopefully, what broke? I mean, something has to break. That's conditional. Dane failed. Oh wait, did we restart engine? What about without? Restart engine X? We did. We have 5 minutes left, I think. Make it work. Yeah. Okay, so the server is fine. It's returning the address over HTTPS. Let's see, so it's fine. This is 6 minutes. You can finish it early, it's fine. Okay, what could be wrong? So the TLSC record, let's 625. That's correct. Is it not signed? Okay, it's something to do with the NSSEC, but this is pretty much what you need to do to get a dynamic address for HIP2. Why isn't this? This is right here too, but it probably won't work. Oh wait, it works. Okay, that works. I know what that problem was, but so you see that it's ending with FUP right now. You try it again, and you get another address. So that's it. That was, I didn't think it'll work, but fine. So that's that, and that ends this presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to join the Telegram groups or Discord servers for Bob and Handshake, obviously. And I don't know, just feel free to reach out if you want to talk about anything Handshake related.
Yeah, Rith, you're a Handshake super user. You're always answering people's questions, always helping out in the community. So just
Okay,
thank you
there's a
for
question.
everything.
Auto renewals.
Oh, I don't think he hears us.
I'm gonna say soon,
what's-
but it'll be a long soon.
Did they use the Q&A? I don't know. There's lots of questions.
Yeah.
They're coming in.
I think
in
Anu is working on something trustless, which might make it easier for other services to renew on your behalf. That might be more stable. But if it's within Bob, then okay, can't hear you again.
Oh,
It's gonna work if I refresh, but I think we can just end it. It's fine, right? 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Rithvik, I don't think can hear us right now. But
Q&A. Let me just refresh.
does anybody have questions? Let's try to use the
Okay.
let's try to use the Q&A section so we can just put it up on screen.
Well, we gotta transition to the
Yeah, I guess
next
we're basically done.
break.
All right,
We're
all
at
right.
time right now. We had
Yeah,
to
we're done.
kick Rithvik off like last time, unfortunately. I don't know what was going on, but
But anyway, I mean,
yeah.
people are really amazed. He did it live on live demo, so that's awesome. And
Yeah,
we're all just saying we appreciate you, Rithvik. He can't hear us still. Maybe.
I can hear
can you
you
hear us
fine.
now?
Just
Okay, now you can. Okay, now I want to say, Rithvik, thank you for everything you do in the community. Thank you for all the help that you give out to everybody that asks questions in the server and everything. So, yeah, just again, thank you.
It's fun to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad. All right, so we're at time. We're gonna end it here and have a little break, and then Alex Smith and Thomas are going to take us carry us
Yep.
home and talk about Handy Host.
Yeah, that'll be the final session for day 1. So great job, everybody. And then tomorrow we have the first auction, the Ukraine fundraiser, to start at 12 noon Pacific, 2 hours earlier than today, and then a whole full day of amazing sessions. So we'll see you in the next session today, and then a quick break.
All right, see you guys in the next one.
Kinetic is a blockchain crypto investment firm based in Hong Kong and Puerto Rico. Founded in 2016, they were the first fund in Hong Kong and one of the earliest in Asia. With a portfolio of over 220 companies, they were seed investors in such projects as Ethereum, Parity and Polkadot, Solana, FTX and of course Handshake and Namebase. Founder Johan Chu is an active investor and supporter of the Handshake ecosystem. Over 100,000 domains, co-founder of DWeb Foundation, co-founder of HandyCon, and sponsor of the Handshake House at Miami Hack Week 2022.